Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels have claimed responsibility for the attack, and we're able to discuss this now with an Israeli government spokesperson, David Mencer. David, thanks so much for joining us. What can you tell us about this attack?
Well, firstly, thank you for having me on, Wilf. Look, this was a little bit too close for comfort because this was just literally behind where I live with my family at 3:12 this morning. My wife and I were woken up. Not only was the room shaking, but a massive explosion, the sorts of things that you see in Marvel movies is the only thing I can compare it to. We were attacked last night from the Houthis, a terrorist organization not only here in Israel, but also in the UK. They're after us. Unfortunately, if only they were just trying to support the Palestinians. They're not. They're after Jewish blood. They claimed a life in Tel Aviv yesterday, but this is not going to work for them because the Prime Minister's made extremely clear, whoever sets out to harm us, we will harm them and they will feel the pain, and it will be a deterrence.
David, how rare is it, how scary is it for an attack like this to be successful where it was in Tel Aviv?
Look, Wilf, Israel has an extremely impressive array of defensive technology to take care of these sorts of things. And we're getting sometimes 90, sometimes 95% of success when it comes to these sorts of attacks. This one slipped through, which made it all the more shocking. But let's not forget, this attack came just meters away from the branch office of the US Embassy here in Tel Aviv, not in the embassy itself, which is in our capital in Jerusalem, but their branch office here in Tel Aviv. So it's unclear at the moment whether that was their target. But either way, it claimed the life of a Tel Avivi who was doing nothing more than sleeping in his bed. This was not a military target. This was a civilian target. They went after our people. They killed one. But our policy is extremely clear. Whoever sets out to harm us, they will be harmed.
Can I just ask, you mentioned the Prime Minister there. He was due to go to New York, to Washington, excuse me, to meet with President Biden. Many reports that meeting is now off. Can you give us an update on that?
The latest information I have, Wilf, is that that meeting is very much on. The Prime Minister of Israel will become the international leader that has spoken to both houses of Congress more than any other international leader ever before in history. And it's a very important relationship that we're shoring up here, this US-Israeli relationship. It's a bipartisan relationship. President Biden has stood side by side with this country. They've had a bigger impact on the Houthis themselves, taking down their suicide drones in the Red Sea even before they come close. And of course, that bipartisan relationship means that Israel will do everything in its power to ensure that nothing harms that relationship. That trip is going on as to my latest knowledge.
David, very quickly, forgive me for the short amount of time on this. What's your view on the government here restoring funding to UNRWA?
Well, I'll be quite frank with you, Wilf. UNRWA, we know, is just been funneling money. That's the long and the short of it. They've been funneling money and supporting Hamas. We've provided all this evidence internationally to the government of the UK as well. It's a big mistake, I've got to tell you, because we've got evidence as long as your arm to show the complicity, the nexus between UNRWA and Hamas.
I'm sorry I gave you so little time on that final question. We thank you so much for joining us, particularly about the incident in Tel Aviv.